A freshly cooked meal, the new normal for schools across Mexico, a country with one of the worst childhood obesity epidemics in the world. On today's menu at this primary school in a poor district of Mexico City, rice, chicken, and greens, and to drink, plain water.
It smells like comfort. It looks like dinner. But that soft tortilla is hiding something ugly. Something that's not on the menu and never will be. Synthetic additives, chemical preservatives, and oils linked to infertility and hormonal chaos, all wrapped up in a meal you trusted. What if the salsa you're dipping into is more dangerous than it is delicious? What if every bite was a slow, calculated betrayal? This isn't about taste. It's about toxins. Are you feeding your family food or a ticking time bomb? The Chipotle illusion asterisk, they sold us a dream. A dream of clean eating, responsibly raised meat, and hand-scooped guac made with love. Chipotle didn't just serve food, they sold trust. But peel back the foil, and that burrito becomes a ticking metabolic bomb behind the glass counter. It looks fresh, vibrant, honest. But what's not visible are the seed oils, industrial-grade canola and sunflower, saturating nearly every component. The rice, soaked in it. The carnitas, cooked in it. The sofritas, swimming in it. These oils aren't just unhealthy. They're inflammatory triggers that silently wreak havoc on your gut, your brain, and your blood vessels. And then there's the sodium. A single burrito can pack over 2,500 milligrams of sodium, more than the daily limit in one sitting. But it's not sea salt or Himalayan pink. It's processed, iodized, and laced with anti-caking agents that keep it from clumping, but may be clumping inside your arteries instead. You were told the meat was naturally raised. But those words mean nothing without regulation. Quiet investigations have exposed their supply chain's reliance on antibiotic-fed livestock from massive industrial farms, the same ones supplying chains they claim to be better than. The cows might roam, but what are they fed? Soy sludge? GMO corn soaked in pesticide runoff? Let's talk natural flavors. That lime crema? That smoky chipotle pepper? You might imagine real limes and fire-roasted peppers, but the reality is flavor labs replicating taste using compounds that have never seen a farm. Some of these chemicals have been linked, quietly, to migraines, digestive distress, and even neurological effects in sensitive individuals. And if you're thinking, the vegan options are safer? Think again. Those black beans simmered with spices may include hidden MSG alternatives like yeast extract, tricking your taste buds while overstimulating your nervous system. That what's worse, Chipotle knows its image is sacred. That's why the ingredient list is vague, the sourcing claims are slippery, and the PR is loud. It's marketing alchemy, turning processed into pure and processed deception into public worship. This isn't just misleading. It's betrayal, served with a side of chips. And if you think that was shocking, wait until you find out what's really inside America's favorite Mexican brand. Section 3, Taco Bell. The chemical phystate's the late-night favorite. The cheap thrill. The nostalgic bite you crave when nothing else sounds good. But Taco Bell isn't a fast food joint. It's a chemistry lab disguised as a restaurant. Let's start with the beef. It looks like meat, smells like meat. But what you're biting into is only about 88% actual beef. The rest is fillers, binders, and preservatives that most people can't even pronounce. Maltodextrin, torula yeast, lactic acid, and modified cornstarch make up the rest. And then, there's the big one, silicon dioxide. Yes, the same anti-caking agent used in industrial products, and those do not eat silica packets. It's in your taco, legally. Taco Bell defends it all under the banner of safety. But when other countries ban ingredients you're eating on the regular, there's a problem. Artificial dyes like yellow 6, red 40, and blue 1 are still found in their nacho cheese and sauces. Dyes that have been linked to hyperactivity in children and potential carcinogenic effects. Why are they banned in Europe, but served to kids in America with a smile? And the cheese. Don't let the melt fool you. It's pumped with cellulose powder, plant fiber added not for health, but to stretch profits. You're not just paying for filler. You're feeding your body something that can slow digestion, irritate the gut lining, and leave you bloated and fatigued. But it gets darker. Hidden inside the flavorings are estrogen-mimicking compounds. These endocrine disruptors don't just mess with your hormones. They can trigger early puberty in children, fertility issues in adults, and long-term risks to thyroid function. And all it takes is a few bites of that harmless crunch wrap. The sauces, mild, hot, fire, are laced with high fructose corn syrup, potassium sorbate, and even propylene glycol. You know what else uses propylene glycol? Car antifreeze. But hey, it makes the sauce smooth, right? And what about their tortillas and taco shells? Bleached flour, enriched with synthetic vitamins, and often preserved with calcium propionate, a compound linked to behavioral issues in children and mood instability in adults. While you're chasing the flavor, your body is drowning in a chemical soup. Taco Bell isn't a party, it's a slow poison parade. But if you think the big names are the only culprits, wait until you hear what Del Taco's been hiding behind that fresh label. Del Taco's sweet little lie: it looks clean, feels safer. Fresh Mex is the promise, and they plaster it on every wrapper, cup, and commercial. But behind Del Taco's polished branding is a kitchen filled with chemical shortcuts and deceptive flavor tricks. You weren't eating fresh. You were swallowing a lie. Let's start with the sauces. That tangy, secret sauce, slathered onto burgers and tacos? It's loaded with high fructose corn syrup, a cheap sweetener linked to insulin resistance, liver stress, and skyrocketing childhood obesity. And the worst part? It's hidden under generic labels like sugar or natural flavor. You'd never know unless you dug deep. But your body feels it. Crashes, cravings, inflammation. Del Taco's tortillas, hailed as warm and soft, come preserved with propionic acid, a chemical preservative that extends shelf life, but shrinks gut health. Studies have linked it to changes in the gut microbiome that affect everything from mood to immune response. It's also been tied to behavioral issues in children, tantrums, brain fog, even sleep disturbances. And while the brand claims its ground beef is seasoned to perfection, what that really means is a mix of salt, MSG derivatives, and yes, silicon dioxide, a literal industrial anti-caking agent. Your taco meat has more in common with a hardware store than a kitchen. Their vibrant red and green salsas, not made fresh daily like they want you to believe. These are often processed in off-site facilities, bottled with sodium benzoate, a preservative that, when mixed with vitamin C, can form benzene, a known carcinogen. This happens inside the bottle, inside your fridge, and inside your body. And then there's the real kicker. Recent whistleblower-style reports have quietly flagged Del Taco's ice machines in select locations as breeding grounds for bacteria. We're talking slime buildup, mold spores, and contaminated ice served in cups for your kids. Not every location, but enough to be terrifying. Del Taco isn't just disappointing, it's dangerous. They've built a brand on the illusion of cleanliness and quality. But behind the counter, it's the same playbook. Cut corners, hide ingredients, and serve up smiles with a side of slow damage. And if you thought that was bad, just wait until we pull back the curtain on the two chains that actually got it right. The two chains that got it right after all the deception, after all the slow poisons disguised as lunch. You'd be forgiven for thinking every Mexican chain is part of the lie. But hidden in the noise, two quietly powerful outliers have emerged. Not perfect, but radically different. These aren't massive corporations obsessed with margins. They're mission-driven, ingredient-transparent, and deeply intentional about what ends up in your mouth. No industrial seed oils, no artificial dyes, no lab-born natural flavors. Just real food, made by real hands, with nothing to hide. The first chain sources 100% organic produce. Tomatoes that aren't sprayed with neurotoxic pesticides. Avocados that ripen under the sun, not ethylene gas in a warehouse. Their guacamole isn't made in advance or pumped with preservatives. It's made in small batches, daily. Fresh enough to brown by evening. That's how you know it's real. Their meats? Grass-fed, pasture-raised, hormone-free. No vague, naturally raised label games. No factory-farmed antibiotics sneaking onto your plate. And if you're plant-based? Their beans are soaked, not canned. Their rice is cooked in olive oil, not inflammatory sludge. The second chain goes even further. Their full ingredient list is published online. Not just calorie counts or allergens. Every ingredient, every source, every additive, or lack thereof. You can trace your taco from farm to forked. They've implemented cross-contamination protocols so strong, even severe allergy sufferers can eat without fear. Employees are trained to understand what's in the food, not just how to sell it. When you ask what's in this, you don't get a blank stare. You get truth, and it's not just about your health. These two chains also fight for ethics at the source, supporting small-scale farmers, avoiding suppliers with human rights violations, and minimizing waste. It's Mexican food with soul, not corporate rot. These restaurants don't have the biggest marketing budgets. They don't have celebrity endorsements. But what they do have is integrity. And in today's fast food jungle, that's more rare and more powerful than ever. But before we wrap this up, there's one last truth you have to hear. And it's the most gut-wrenching one of all. You were never eating Mexican food. This wasn't Mexican food. It was a counterfeit culture, drenched in chemicals, smothered in branding, and served with a side of betrayal. The tacos? Engineered. The burritos? Manufactured. The flavors? Fabricated. In sterile labs by people who've never stepped foot in Oaxaca, Puebla, or Jalisco. You weren't tasting tradition, you were tasting toxicity. Real Mexican food is vibrant, ancestral, healing. It's slow-simmered stews, nixtamalized corn, and hand-pressed tortillas from masa that nourishes, not numbs. It's food made with memory and meaning, built from scratch, not synthetic sludge, but the fast food industry hijacked that legacy. It took a rich, anti-inflammatory cuisine and turned it into gut-wrecking garbage. They swapped lard for seed, oils, bone broth for sodium bombs, fresh herbs for flavor enhancers. And we let it happen, one convenience meal at a time. They didn't just steal the food. They rewrote the story. They convinced us that this was Mexican cuisine. That a Doritos Locos taco was authentic. That microwave-warmed tortillas and factory guac belonged on the same table as hand-ground mole or fire-roasted chiles. This wasn't just cultural appropriation. It was chemical colonization, and the damage runs deep. Because what we eat doesn't just affect our waistline. It affects our brain, our mood, our fertility, our children. When you feed your family this version of Mexican food, you're not feeding them culture. You're feeding them inflammation, addiction, and chronic disease disguised as dinner. But here's the truth. The power is still yours. You can reclaim the plate. You can reject the plastic-wrapped illusion and return to food that loves you back. You can choose the two chains doing it right. Or better yet, find a local taqueria run by people who honor the real recipes, who still slow cook, still hand grind, still care. Because once you see the lie, there's no going back. Next time you unwrap that burrito, ask yourself, is this food, or is it just another trick wrapped in foil?